Joseph Smith used two terms to designate the self-existent and eternal part of man: intelligence and mind. As we've demonstrated, the prophet did use intelligence within this context repeatedly, but he also used mind. In fact, it appears that mind was his preferred term, as he used it to name his subject. He called the subject the mind of man and not the intelligence of man. The three original reporters who mentioned this statement by Joseph all recorded that Joseph used the term the mind of man. Joseph used mind elsewhere in the discourse. It is the mind that is the immortal part of man, which had no beginning. It is the mind of man that is co-equal with God. The version of the discourse of the teachings of the prophet Joseph Smith has it that both mind and intelligence are co-equal with God. This wording seems to equate the two. But three original recorders, Willard Richards, Wilford Woodruff, and William Clayton, state that Joseph only used mind and not intelligence, while the fourth, Thomas Bullock, did not record the statement. Furthermore, it is the mind of man that is susceptible of enlargement. In truth, Joseph used both terms, intelligence and mind, to mean the same thing: an eternal, intelligent being. William Clayton's account makes this clear. The mind is the intelligent part of man, or the seat of intelligence. This was how mind was understood in 1828. If we use the same pattern as we did with the light of Christ, we find that the mind of man, intelligence, has the following characteristics. We also know through the principle of transitivity that since intelligence is equal to the light of Christ, so is the mind of man. It also means that all the characteristics of the mind or intelligence of man can be added to the light of Christ and vice versa. In today's scientific world, the mind of man and its equivalents, intelligence and the light of Christ, would be called consciousness. Dictionaries define consciousness as the mind or mental faculties being comprised of thought, feelings, and will. Conversely, mind is defined in relation to consciousness. Simply put, consciousness is defined as mind, and mind is defined as consciousness. But this really doesn't define the two. It is a definitional loop. The truth of the matter is that neither philosophy or science can explain the existence or nature of consciousness. Philosophers recognize that there is such a thing as consciousness, but have not reached a consensus as to what it is. Science has its own difficulties with consciousness. Founded upon materialism, modern science believes that consciousness must be a product of the human brain. However, science has yet to discover the physical connection between the brain and consciousness. This has become the hard problem of consciousness, as philosopher David Chalmers put it. Or, put another way, what is the connection between mental processes and physical processes? No one knows the answer to these questions, though theories abound.